I'm here with Michael Turbot from the music team, and I'm really happy to be here because he was busy in another panel just 5 minutes ago, so thank you for being here. And he's the technology promotion office manager of the music team. So, Michael, thank you for being here again, and can you just say something about yourself and your role in the lab?
So my name is Michael. As you said, I'm Technology Promotion Office Manager. My role, my mission at Sony CSL is that you have researchers doing research. I've worked in the music industry, and my mission is to bridge the gap between science and the industry and the economics behind the industry, and to make sure that our tools can be used and soon by the industry as we are doing prototypes working on AI. It's the early times of AI in the music industry. So my role is to promote our technologies to these industries.
I think that you are used to have contact with artists as well. So it's one of the, the main purpose of your, let's say, mission.
Yes, I think that CSL asked me to join them because I have a 13 years experience in the music industry where I worked in music labels, I released music, so I was every day with many artists. And I finished at Sony Music by being the head of innovation and new technologies. So I have these two passions. I have a music passion with the knowledge of how it works from inside, but also the passion for new technologies. And before arriving at CSL, I started working with them. I brought them artists. We spent time in studios, and the idea was, how can an artist come to Sony CSL, work with Sony CSL, but with knowing also all the problematics from the industry perspective, like the time, the artists are not always available or they don't always like technology. So it's important to know how to speak to an artist and know how to organize some visits to the studio.
And so, what do you need to speak to an artist? What does knowing it mean?
It's important to see that working with artists is not just about creativity. A lot of people think that it's about creativity, but artists are, and it's not a bad word saying that, are businessmen. I mean, like, they have a career and they always see in the next 2 years what is going to happen. It can be a single, it can be an album, it can be a live tour, and all these things are organized very early. Therefore, to spend time to Sony CSL, they need to have this creativity availability to be only in a creative process. And when you look at this moment, it's not really common in an artist's life to be creative and to spend time being creative with new technologies.
Thank you. This is, I think, the human part is very important in the work, in your work. I mean, yeah. So, and can you tell something about one particular collaboration you had with an artist that you find particularly interesting?
There's many collaboration actually, and it's really interesting to see that not all artists are big fans of technologies. So first you have to find the one who are interested, but we like to work with many artists, people who know how to read or write music. We also have artists who don't know how to play an instrument, they play with the mouse on their computers. But there are relationship with artists that are even getting friendly relationships. It's because it's a collaboration. We don't pay the artists to work with us. We like to spend time together and to speak about music. And there are artists with whom we work a lot. Like, we're working with this genius producer called Wim Therapy, and he spends a lot of time in the studio when we call each other all the time because now we are good friends and we understand how to work together. There's also Ariel Lamor, who was on the panel previously. She spent almost a year in the lab, so she's even starting to be a CSL person for us. But there are many others, like this famous rapper called Niro, and many others coming I cannot talk about today. But I mean, like, I feel that collaborating with Sony CSL, when the artist is really into investigating new technologies and new prototypes. For them, it's like a playground to be at Sony CSL. So they like to come, and we like to have them come at the lab.
Thank you. And what about the collaboration between the two offices? I mean, the Tokyo one and the one in Paris, the two the two music teams. I mean, do you often collaborate on projects? How is the relationship between the two entities?
So it's two entities because we are separated by many kilometers. But I think that we all feel that we're from the same team. We work with the same tools. Now, the difficulty is more a time change. How do you say? Time zone difficulty. We have to make meetings very early in the morning. So this doesn't make it really easy to have like a really daily, how do you say, association collaboration. But at the end of the day, we work with the same tools. We have the same mission, and they are more concentrated on promoting the technologies into the Japanese territory. We are more into promoting it in Europe and hopefully soon in the US. But to answer your question, it's just one team.
Great, and I think it is visible outside. And what about the way you work in Paris? I mean, in your team, what is your approach? So, of course, it is collaborative, but can you just let us enter a little more inside the work, the job? So, for example, can you describe, for example, a day in the lab, a day in the music team?
A day in the lab is many experts who want to create something new with its difficulties, because when I see these researchers, these crazy brilliant researchers, they have something in mind and they want to develop it, and as a researcher they are into their own stuff. My mission, which is not always easy, regards in regards to researchers and the music industry, is that we work sometimes on the same projects, but we don't have the same time scale. Research is on many years. When you work in the music industry, a long-term project is 3 months. So the idea is always, how do you fit researchers and their project, which is a long-term project, to the mission of promoting it to the business industry, who's very short-term. But the idea, and what is a normal day, is you have researchers working on new cool prototypes. I try to understand them, and I try to understand them so that I will be able to explain it to the industry and to find some possible overlapping interests from the researcher's perspective. They like to collaborate with artists because artists bring them their expertise, their how they're going to use prototypes, even the data when we work with them. And on the other side, the mission is to try to see how our research can be interesting for the public. And it's a tough mission, but very interesting to see that you have all these great minds working on the same project, but you don't always have the time scale in mind. So you have to be very careful about that, because we are a lab. The main people in the labs are the researchers, and it's research before all.
Thank you. And since your role is to be a technology promotion office manager, do you also deal with that phase when a project moves from the prototype phase and arrives to be a product? Do you prepare for that phase, or there is another, let's say, development?
For the moment at CSL, we are only doing proper prototypes. We are not into the development side. There is development, but not like a commercial product. I think that you have the phase of prototyping and thinking about doing a product, but the main part is to find the time when you are working on early technologies to go and see and visit some people, just telling them, look at what we do, just to prepare when it's going to be the time for an actual product to be used by the business or by the artist. And I think it's the main mission is to be able to find the right person in the industry who are curious, enthusiasts, and to show them that we are working and that the prototypes are starting to come from a very early and difficult prototype, and that 1 year later it's actually usable by artists. And it's important for them to understand that this process is needed. And so, yeah, it's visiting every 2 months someone and saying, look what we did, look what we are doing, look what we are investigating. And there's also the fact that sometimes artists or the industry can bring interesting possible new subjects or domains of research, because a problem from the business can be really interesting for researchers. So I try to be, like we say in France, vase communicant, to open the communication, both sides, not in one side, and to try to find mutual interests. It needs patience, it needs curiosity, and it needs finding the right people in their industries, because when you speak about technology to most people in the industry, either they are not curious or they don't have time for that because they have business priorities. So yeah.
Thank you. And do you have any anticipations for us? So later I will speak with other researchers from the team, but I don't know. Do you have some like sneak peeks?
I do have sneak peeks. I cannot officialize them right now because I never officialize anything until there's actually a song on Spotify, on YouTube, because you never know what's going to happen. Maybe there's some. But I think that for the last 2 years, we've been working with some great artists, and this brought us a new reputation as Sony CSL. And Sony CSL's philosophy is about helping artists, and the word is spreading. In that now we have artists knocking on our door, and I would have never imagined that 2 years ago. And hopefully this year there's going to be, I don't know, maybe we have one chance out of 10, but like a massive international artist working with us. And this would be incredible for everybody, and this will prove that finally AI can be very positive in the studio for artists. So hopefully we'll speak next year or in the next open house, and we'll speak about that moment where I told you that maybe we'll have a very huge artist using our tools.
So Michael, thank you very much. It was really, I really enjoyed this interview. And so I'm moving to one step ahead to talk with other people. And thank you very much. Bye.